I'm Noreen, and welcome to a new installment of Noreen's Garden. Today is March the 3rd of 2015, and I thought if we're going to give this a good go, we should start at the very beginning, because we all know that's a very good place to start. So let's go talk about, so you want to start a garden, and I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on where I think you should be starting. So let's go see what those tips and tricks are. This is going to be a little bit unconventional because I think that we get these ideas in our head. We get very enthusiastic because we want to start a garden. And many of you I know out there have been wanting to start one for quite some time. And you might have done a little research online, and you know you need seeds, and you know you need a place to plant them, and you know that you're going to need water source, and you know you're going to need fertilizer. All of those things are givens. But at the very beginning, you really want to do a couple of things. And the very first thing that you want to do is get yourself a pad and a pen and start writing down your thoughts, your ideas, and making lists of things that you think you want to do. There's a lot of cohesion that comes after you start writing things down. So my biggest suggestion to you is get a journal or a pad of paper or a piece of paper and a pen and start writing stuff down. So the next thing you're going to do is, whether you live in a house, on a farm, in a field, in an apartment, in a condominium, no matter what that is, you're going to want to take and assess where you are going to be planting this garden. Okay, so you want to take a look at your yard if you live in a house, or maybe you have a rental and you're limited to what you can do in that yard, or you're in an apartment and you only have a balcony. There are ways that you can garden and grow your own vegetables, even in the smallest of spaces. Square Foot Gardening Book. This is where I got my start. You can get this book on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description box below. You can go find this book. He also has a Square Foot Gardening answers book, where it's got a little bit of Q&A, like those frequently asked questions. This is where we started. Basically, you want to look at the space that you're going to be planting in. You want to know where the sun is coming from. Where does the sun hit your yard in the morning? Where does it hit your yard in the afternoon? All of these things are going to determine where you're going to be putting your garden. You can plant a garden in buckets, in bags, in baskets. You can plant a garden in the ground. You can build the square foot system out of planks and boards and fill it with dirt, and you can go from there. You can do lasagna gardening or back to Eden gardening, which is something that we have taken to in the last few years. You know, we all come up with pitfalls. We all have things that we learn along the way, and that is the most important thing to know. If you're going to start a garden, you're going to fail at something. At some point, something is going to die, or something is not going to grow properly, or something is going to mutate. These are all things that we learn over time. The Square Foot Gardening Book, I think, is a really good place to start because it's very simple in its approach. Everybody can garden. Everybody can grow something. Some people are going to be better at growing flowers. Some people are going to be better at growing vegetables. But the truth of the matter is we can all grow something that we can sit down and eat and share and enjoy. Everything you need is in this book. There are planting guides in the back. There's a glossary. There's a schedule guide in the back as well of when you should be planting. And it gives you some idea of how things need to be planted, how deep they need to be, how much space they need, because even though you're using the square foot method, some things are going to require more than 1 square foot in order to grow. There's a guide of the different types of vegetables and herbs that you can plant or might choose to plant, and how much space each one is going to require. And then, of course, up here in the very beginning, there's a quick start guide that shows you how to build the boxes, how to plant the boxes. Everything that you need is in this book. If you're going to start gardening, this is the only book you're going to need, to be quite honest with you. get a book, do a little online research. This book is not that expensive. I highly recommend it. If you're a little more advanced gardener and you want to move on to something different or a little more intermediate, this book here, The Backyard Homestead, is absolutely fantastic. It gives you a good amount of information on not just gardening, but essential herbs like for medicinal uses and how to easily plant. Here's like cider making. There's small animal husbandry, how to plant fruit trees, how to make a dwarf orchard, which I find to be extremely informative. Here's how to do grapes. There's information in here on how to espalier apple trees. Anything that you can think of, this is kind of a nice little compact piece of information. It has a little bit of everything and tells you how to raise chickens, how to raise goats and rabbits, how to raise sheep if you are going to have that. When we talk about a backyard, you need to check your zoning rules. You may not be allowed to have livestock of any kind in your yard. I'm allowed to have chickens, but I don't have them yet, but I will one day. And then, you know what? We're not going to knock these either. These little books that you find in the dollar bin or the $5 bin when you go to places like Tractor Supply, or sometimes Walmart has a book bin. I never met a book bin I could pass up. What?
Big Lots.
Yeah, Big Lots has one. Or maybe, like we have, Books A Million. They have a really great discount section. And sometimes you can find really great garden books. This one I think I picked up at a yard sale. There's really not a lot of information in this particular book about vegetable or fruit or herb gardening, but nonetheless, these books are very helpful. There's a lot of information in here about getting your soil ready and amending your soil for different types of situations. So, you know, books are a fantastic resource, and I highly recommend that you get a couple, assess your space, write it down, and then you move on to deciding what you're going to plant. So that's really where I'm at today with you. I just wanted to come by and, you know, talk to you about starting a garden for those of you who are really starting at the very, very beginning. Because it can be kind of a scary prospect. There's a lot of information out there, and I'm going to try and simplify it the best that I can. There's a lot of great resources here on YouTube. You know, I'm going to try and be a really good resource for you, but that is not to say that there are not other great resources as well. In coming videos, I plan on sharing with you some other channels that I think are going to be helpful for you, because these people know what they're doing, and they also started, you know, we all had to start somewhere. I am by no means an authority. I just like to share what I do, and I like to help you do it the best and the simplest and the easiest and the most inexpensive way that you can to have the best quality end result, which is a bountiful harvest. So, I'm going to leave you with that. Get yourself a pad, get yourself some books, do a little research, and start writing things down. That's what you need to do right now. Next time we'll talk about seeds and seed catalogs and all of that good stuff. So, until next time, happy gardening!
Thank you.